that Buffalo defense.
You know what, I always look for when I see a guy come off the bench and he's really fresh like Poirier did, and he put him in the game, I put somebody on him right away.
See if he's smiling, too.
Yeah.
That's the other key.
Because he's bringing the play into himself.
But, you know, I mean, it's just what has set this all up. Terrific play-action fake. And if the New England Patriots were not running the football effectively, Buffalo would not respect that fake.
Vinatieri for the point after. And it is 20-0 New England. 273 yards of offense in the first half, and Tom Brady has thrown for 170 of that 273.
And going into this game, I said it before, the Bills are giving up a total of 268 yards a game. They've already surpassed that.
They're already 5 over their average for an entire game. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have made quite a team so far, and they are 3rd on the all-time list. Winning percentage for head coaches and quarterbacks, topped by Paul Brown and Otto Graham, Vince Lombardi, and Bart Starr, a couple of legendary comebacks.
Give these guys a little more time, and I have a feeling they're going to creep up. And Coach Lombardi and Bart Starr may not be holding that position as much.
Let me just say something here. We looked at this New England team, and we looked at them last week against St. Louis, and they beat them with I mean, hardly anybody that you mentioned in the secondary, okay? Except for Rodney Harrison.
Thank you.
We got him
and Rodney will appreciate it.
But I'm going to tell you what, when you look at this team, everybody on this team knows where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. And it doesn't make any difference who he puts in there. I don't care if it's a free agent or not. They know what they're supposed to do. This is a well-coached football team.
And what you saw in that graphic was the distribution to the wide receivers, to the tight ends, to the running backs. Everybody's catching the ball.
The Bills would love to respond with something here. They're down 20-0, and they'll start from scrimmage from their own 29. Let's go to Susie.
Well, this has been like a party for the Patriots, and linebacker Mike Vrabel, who has been a poster child for their versatility, told me that it's an unbelievable feeling to be able to keep doing things that people don't believe you can do week after week. People walk into their locker room and ask them, how can you keep doing this without any stars? He said, that's the whole idea. We're just a bunch of football players. We love playing the game. We love playing for each other. That's our strength.
Susie, they have done a brilliant job building this team, putting this roster together. Bledsoe under pressure, and down he goes.
See, and I think they are stars. You know, they don't get the hype. I think that's the difference in the New England players. They don't get the hype all over the place, but in their own right, they're star football players.
They don't care about hype. No, they really don't. You know, it's like they win 21. Hey, we haven't done anything yet. We haven't gotten to the playoffs yet. When we get to the playoffs, we'll talk to you.
Well, tonight they're on their way to 23 out of 24. The score here at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Patriots 20, Bills nothing. Now let's join Chris Berman for the Toyota halftime show.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. So the Patriots putting on a clinic as they have done so often in recent times, and we'll be going back up to frosty Foxborough shortly. The only team, of course, to beat the Patriots in those games has been the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers had a rivalry of their own today. They renewed acquaintances with the Cleveland Browns. And here we go. Some war of the words a few days before, and then William Green apparently spitting in the face of Joey Porter. This before the game in Cleveland, both tossed out. Meanwhile, Jerome Bettis, he and the whole offensive line in there. Bettis had 2 touchdowns, a 100-yard day. And the defense, Russell Stubans returns this one. The Steelers win 24-10. They've won 7 in a row. More in a moment. Meanwhile, clock mismanagement, Jets late. Quincy Carter, they squander time. Field goal at the end of the game ties Baltimore, but in overtime. Kyle Bowler to Kevin Johnson, setting up what he can do in OT twice last year, and this year Matt Stover. Good. Ravens come from behind to beat the Jets 20-17. First place on the line in the NFC Norris division. Dante Culpepper to Mo Williams, 4 TD passes for this Viking quarterback, tied with the Packers at 31. Brett Favre, Tony Fisher, setting up Brian Longwell. Good. The Pack beat the Vikes 34-31. They won 4 in a row. Their ties for first. First place on the line in the NFC West. Mark Bolger, Kevin Curtis. Rams throwing the first 13 times against the Seahawks. Sean Alexander. This play typifies Seattle. 6 times in time to 30, but all they got was field goals. Fumble. Williams forces it. Rams beat the Seahawks 23-12. They're tied for first. Mike Vick, showdown with Tampa Bay for first in the NFC South. Algie Crumpler, touchdown, 24-14. Atlanta is 7-2. Meanwhile, Peyton Manning, you can't stop him. 5 touchdown passes. 2 to Dallas Clark. Colts all over Houston, 49-14. The Jaguars had their way to Detroit until 2 fourth-quarter punt returns by Eddie Janitor in a Drummond. This one with a minute to go. Amazing. It tied the game. He could go all the way into overtime. But then David Garrard, starting in place of the injured Byron Leftwich. Jimmy Smith, touchdown, 23-17. Jags win an OT. Billy Volek, starting for McNair for Tennessee. To Drew Bennett, 47 yards. Titans lead by 3. Bears field goal ties it. Then their defense gets in the act. It's a safety. Only the second time ever an overtime game's been won by a safety. 1917 Chicago. Emmitt Smith, 2 touchdowns. Giants squander a big lead as they did last week. Kurt Warner's pass tipped by Arizona's Carlos Dansby. Arizona wins 17-14. Mark Brunell benched. Patrick Ramsey in. Didn't matter. Picked by the Bengals, Torrey James. They beat Bill Parcells and Joe Gibson straight weeks, and they win it 17-10. Meanwhile, Aaron Brooks to Joe, don't bother me, I'm on the horn. Touchdown. Saints beat the Chiefs 27-20. Todd Sauerbrunn, Casey Hurt. Sauerbrunn, the punter, makes a 30-yard field goal. Panthers from behind in San Francisco. Jake Daylight, come, I got it, Delo. To Muhsin Muhammad. Niners squander a 17-0 lead. Carolina beats them 37-27.
This halftime show is presented by the all-new Toyota Tacoma. Now that's moving you forward.
When we return, halftime heroes, which have to include Peyton Manning and the Bears defense, scoring all sorts of ways.
Welcome back to the Toyota Halftime Show with your host, Chris Berman.
20-0, the Patriots all over the Buffalo Bills at the half. Well, an axiom in football is, okay, it's nice to get a rookie quarterback and get him some time, but you can't win with him. I mean, Peyton Manning only won a few games when he started right out of the gates. Troy Aikman won 1 game the first year he was with the Dallas Cowboys. Can't win with a rookie quarterback. Wrong. Here's our halftime heroes, and every week we got to show you Ben Roethlisberger. Northern Ohio kid playing in Cleveland. What a thrill for him. And he's got receivers. He's got mobility. He's got receivers like Hines Ward making blocks. And he's got Plexico Burress. He and Burress have a great thing together, and Ben can run. And oh, by the way, he's 7-0. First rookie to do that ever since they kept track of things. Craig Krenzel, 3-0 for the Bears, but he's getting help with his defense. This defense, here's Michael Haynes, the defensive line, scoring. His defense and special teams have scored 5 TDs already this year. And oh, by the way, Alex Brown, the sack. Ogunleye falls on Fred Miller. The safety wins the game. Eddie Drummond, not 1, but 2 punt returns in the fourth quarter for Detroit. Only the 11th time that a man has returned 2 punts for a touchdown in a game. Obviously much less in 1 quarter, albeit for not as the Lions lost. Brett Favre. I mean, did that bye come at the right time for him? The thumb, the hand to Javon Walker, and the Packers like salad days again. They were 1-4. They're now 5-4 as Favre has thrown 4 touchdown passes in a scintillating win over the Minnesota Vikings. And Peyton Manning, I can do that better. Remember how they hooked up for that great game earlier this year? 5 TD passes for Peyton Manning, 31 on the season. Dan Marino's record in 1984 of 48 certainly is in jeopardy. Dallas Clark was the long one of the day. Look at the big tight end go. Peyton Manning, 3 5 touchdown pass games in his last 7 games this year, has 5 for his career. Marino has 6. And anytime you can put George Blanda and Warren Moon on a graphic, we certainly want to put it up there. Sunday stud, yeah, Manning will get some votes. You can vote and log on. Jerome Bettis will get some votes. Marshall, log on, vote. We'll be back with more at the half.
Time show is presented by the all-new Toyota Tacoma. Now that's moving you forward.
College football Saturday night begins with Football Saturday primetime 7:45. Florida Gators at number 12, Florida State. The 2 polls that you read in the papers tomorrow, the ESPN USA Today coaches poll, USC, Oklahoma, Auburn. Auburn catching up to number 2 Oklahoma. California, Texas ran out your top 5. The AP poll, Auburn and Oklahoma are now tied for 2nd, and they have Utah in there at 5th. Oh, we love the CFL playoffs. The Western Conference Finals, Saskatchewan against British Columbia. Henry Burris, the one-time Bear, throwing for 400 yards to Elijah Thurman. Saskatchewan looking for an upset, leads by 3 late. Duncan O'Mahony for the British Columbia Lions, playing at home in Vancouver indoors. 47-yard field goal ties it for the win. Paul McCallum misses an 18-yarder. You still get a point, but you can't win on a rouge. And O'Mahony does, though, hit the field goal for British Columbia. They win 27-25. They're moving to the Grey Cup Finals next week against a surprise. 2 weeks ago, Montreal Alouettes beat Toronto 58-20. Coach Don Matthews gave his team 9 days off. Calvillo got hurt, the quarterback, and Toronto upsets Montreal. Toronto against British Columbia next Sunday night for the Grey Cup in Ottawa. Meanwhile, south of the border, oh yeah, there's a team called the New England Patriots. Tom Brady, David Patton, they're all over the Bills, 20-0. Third quarter in a moment.
Draft choice Tom Brady, 170 yards, 2 first-half touchdown passes. And the frustration of Drew Bledsoe, only 34 yards throwing the football and shut out in the first half, 20-0 against his former team here in New England. You've seen this look before on Drew Bledsoe's face when he has faced the Pats defense under Bill Belichick.
And they don't even get the ball. New England gets the ball back again to start the half.
And they better stop them.
Pass, fields it on the bounce at the 13. And cut down as he reaches the 27-yard line. Buffalo came in saying, all right, we have to run the ball, we have to throw the ball, you have to have balance. It may only be 20-0, but it's the time to go, hey, here's your balance.
No, I'll tell you what, I really believe that they have to, with that secondary that New England has, you've got to go attack it, and you got to give Bledsoe some time to throw the ball. I think the McGahee factor in this game is just about burnout.
You guys have never played that position. I want to tell you, if you just start dropping Drew Bledsoe back in that pocket, you're asking for him to get beat up. I think you've got to try and run the football a little bit, and we're going to see a lot of it from the New England Patriots because the Buffalo Bills have not been able to stop any runs to the left side tonight. They have taken Aaron Schobel, number 94, and made him the target of where they want to run the football. He's a smallish defensive end at around 260, and they're putting 2 300-pounders on him, plus Daniel Graham, the tight end, and they're just running left.
And
Kevin Falk gets the first carry because Corey Dillon with the leg injury, his return is questionable.
They're not even looking to run the ball in the middle of the field. They got those 2 big guys in the middle of the field, and Adams and Williams, no reason to go there.
Falk again slithers up to about the 42.
All right, Corey Dillon, we may not see him again, but what he did in the first half was just about enough. Just take a look at this guy. And move to the outside. That's Schobel trying to make a tackle, which he doesn't do. And they're staying to the outside with Corey Dillon. He had over 70 yards in the first half. And he didn't play about the last 8 or 9 minutes of the second quarter. This guy is just got, I think he's, for as big as he is, has got tremendous quickness.
And I think where the score is, you don't try and force him back on.
Brady with time goes underneath to his tight end Daniel Graham.
In the beginning of the year, Daniel Graham was a big target for Tom Brady. 5 touchdown passes, had 18 receptions, and the last few games really didn't play in as much because of the problems that they had. They needed him in the backfield, or they needed him on the line to help out on that offensive line a bit, and he's been more of a blocker. Now they're ready to open it up again.
Michael, you want some good things for the Buffalo Bills? Some good news?
It's going to be tough to find one right now.
I got one. No flags.
No flags. And Falk tackles across midfield.
We saw how the New England Patriots wanted to run the football. Now this is how they wanted to throw the football. Look at the distribution. Down the middle of the field, you've got 7 for 9 and 2 touchdowns. Outside, you throw just enough to keep the corners and the safeties having to cover all 53 1/3 yards of the football field. Great distribution and great play calling by Charlie Rice.
Speaking of distribution, 10 different receivers for Tom Brady tonight, and that's not unusual either. Who's ever open gets the ball. Brady right down the middle. This one was behind Patton. He had beaten Clemens.
Well, you know, you look at Brady and you run a play-action pass and you have Falk in the ball game and you run a play-action pass and the defensive line and linebackers never leave the line of scrimmage. He had all day to throw this football. Take a look at this. Watch the fake to Falk here. Now look at the line of scrimmage. There is not a white shirt to be had.
See, David Patton a couple times tonight has done some things that Tom Brady hasn't been comfortable with, and he's just sort of getting back into the groove of things. I think he was supposed to sit that route down in the middle.
3rd and 9. Brady all day to throw again. This one knocked away from Patton. The crowd wants a flag. Rashad Baker, the rookie out of Tennessee, a free agent, got a hand in there. Good coverage. There is a marker down.
Holding, number 59, defense, 5-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
That's on London Fletcher, the middle linebacker.
All right, who's the guy up here that said they didn't have a flag thrown yet? You?
I don't look at me.
I think it was me.
I think it was too.
Talk about jinxing someone.
In fact, it was.
I mean, this is really good defense. They're holding him, and you got a holding at the line, almost near the line of scrimmage.
You know, you figured that rule is going to affect linebackers and tight ends more than anybody.
Patrick Pass now the single setback. As they go with 3 wide receivers, Troy Brown the slot. Gibbons knocked away by Terrence McGee.
Boy, he had him beat, though. Tom Brady just didn't get enough air under this one. David Gibbons is on top in a hurry. Now, he's got to come back and try and make a play. McGee does a good job of going up for the ball as well. But David Gibbons is running up the field if Tom Brady can put it out to him.
McGee was torched a week ago by the Jets. Gave up 6 plays for 163 yards. And Corey Dillon makes an appearance on 2nd and 10. Sidelined for a while with an unspecified leg injury. Patton underneath has the first down and more.
I'll tell you, this is when you really know it's getting sloppy. Now, you got Nate Clemens, number 22, coming up on Patton. Patton's not a big guy. Here, they don't even fake the Corey Dillon on this play. Take a look at this play. Now watch what he tries to do. Clemens comes up and tries to hand tackle Patton. Patton just runs right through it. Bang, he catches the ball back to the outside. He runs away from London Fletcher. I mean, when you want to get back in the game, you got to hit somebody. Now you got to go smash mouth.
Dillon out of the eye this time from the 28. Hitting the backfield, bounces off the tackler. He'll pick up a couple. Pat Williams at 320 just bounced off of it.
Corey Dillon does such an unbelievable job. I mean, his forearm, or excuse me, the stiff arm. Watch the stiff arm. Carries the ball in his left arm, and now he just uses that right arm to just push. There it is. Push the big guy down. Just enough to push it away. And that's how powerful and strong he is. As we said, Antoine Smith, whom he replaced, who they let go and didn't bring back, he didn't have that burst to the outside. Later on in the year, people got tired of tackling him because he was such a big back. But Corey Dillon gives you an extra burst outside.
2nd and 5. Brady. Brown down to the 5, and Tom Brady just picking this outstanding defense apart.
Didn't you enjoy talking to Troy Brown? We were talking the other day,
great.
and he just says, you know what? This is really a close football team. We really don't have any superstars. We're all about the same. Take a look at it. He gets open. Look at the pass he throws. Troy Brown coming off the line of scrimmage. Sit. The ball is there. Turn up the field. I mean, these are perfect passes. But again, Brady's got all day.
Just slides away from Jeff Posey. By the way, he's from Marshall.
Dillon. I mean, think about it. Troy Brown is number 3 all-time for this franchise in catches, number 4 all-time in yards. And in training camp and in the preseason, they say, we want you to work a little bit in the defensive backfield, too. And he's played DB the last 2 weeks.
But his response to Bill Belichick was, Coach, I'm a football player. I'll play wherever you want. Now we talked about Randy Moss and Byron Leftwich and Chad Pennington, all these guys out of Marshall. Here's a guy who goes back 12 years, also out of Marshall. So that school's been putting him out for a long time.
Richard Seymour is in as a blocking back as Dillon tries to pick his way through the defense down to about the 2. Mark it closer to the 1.
Do you have a feeling about Corey Dillon? Hey, he's questionable coming back. When he looks at this football team, I'm not questionable. I'm playing. And when you look at this defense here, right here, I mean, this really tells you how good the defense of the Buffalo Bills has been. They have not given up a 100-yard rusher this season. Well, Dillon has 99. And if he scores a touchdown here, 2 yards out, that'll be 101.
Now you got Mike Vrabel in the game, number 50, down here on the left side, and Richard Seymour. And Seymour's trying to get open in the corner of the end zone.
Brady trying to buy time and has to throw it away. And Daniel Graham comes up limping at the end of that play.
I think Brady wanted to throw the ball to Seymour. I really do, because he watch it. He moves him around. He moves him around. Come here. Now get open. Just come on, come back a little bit. Go back.
Go back, Richard. Go back.
He just ran out of time and had to throw it away.
Now, you know, Richard's going to look at that and say, okay, I know what to do next time.
Vinatieri trying his 3rd chip shot field goal of the night. He is now 20 of 21 this year.
That would have been the 11th different receiver he played.
New England adds 3 more to the total. 23-0 against Buffalo.
Each week, ESPN has your ticket for the best in sports. Mondays, fulfill your need for speed as we bring you the best in 2-wheel, open-wheel, and off-road racing. Thursdays are action sports days with the wildest moments of X Games and beyond. And remember, ESPN is always your home for the great outdoors with hunting, lumberjacking, and some of the biggest fish you've ever seen. The best in sports each week, only on ESPN.
We head to the gridiron where the Baltimore Ravens won a big divisional game and made history. Jamal Lewis led the charge, rushing for 81 yards and a touchdown, while safety Ed Reed sealed the victory with an NFL record 106-yard interception return, leading the Ravens to a 27-13 win over the Cleveland Browns. ESPN celebrates the Baltimore Ravens, our athletes of the week.
On NBA Wednesday, an all-star matchup as the big man returns. Shaquille O'Neal, continuing to make his presence felt, goes on the road against the Bucks. Heat versus Bucks, live Wednesday, the NBA on ESPN.
Best of Friday Night Fights on ESPN. With a 42-3 record, Bronco McCart was ready to face some of the strongest boxers in the junior middleweight division, and it all began with a 10-round bout against Michael Lerma. Friday on ESPN.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
ESPN Sunday Night Football, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39. The new Chevrolets, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. Bud Light, fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. And Nexium. Talk to your doctor about prescription Nexium.
This is the town of Gloucester, America's oldest fishing port, about an hour north of Boston.
A little cold for fishing. Ice fishing pretty soon. They do a lot of that in Buffalo, I'll tell you that.
Looks like Paul trying to open a bottle of Budweiser.
Thank you very much.
Terrence McGee deep to receive. Moves up to the 13. And taken down near the 30. Not much has gone right with the Bills. They still have time. They have to get started.
Each week, ESPN has your ticket for the best in sports. Mondays, fulfill your need for speed as we bring you the best in two-wheel, open-wheel, and off-road racing. Thursdays are action sports days with the wildest moments of X Games and beyond. And remember, ESPN is always your home for the great outdoors with hunting, lumberjacking, and some of the biggest fish you've ever seen. The best in sports each week, only on ESPN.
Hello there. Each week we hear so much about officials and the need to make good calls in games. In the Bundesliga, they're trying to get things better in this department. The idea, of course, is to get all the officials involved in making the calls. Last week in the Munich-Hanover game, the referee issued a second yellow card to Ballack. Uh-oh. As you know, 2 yellows make a red, so it's hasta la vista, baby, to the German star. Now, wait a minute. In steps the referee's assistant, formerly known as the linesman. The 2 officials compare notes. The ref is told he made a mistake. Ballack did not commit the foul. It was, in fact, Schweinsteiger. And then something happens I've never seen before. The referee issues an apology to Ballack and gives the card to the guilty party. How refreshing. A referee admits to a mistake and justice was served. This is a great example of the officials acting as a team. Now, if we can only get the rest of the world to follow the Germans' example. What do you think? That's what's in the How Long In Bag this week, and I'm Tommy Smith with a Y.
Bills have the ball at their own 30, down 23-0. The first drive of the game, they went 45 yards, looked pretty good. Since then, their last 5 drives, they have picked up a total of 32 yards, and Drew Bledsoe has 8 yards passing in those 5 drives. Now he's directing traffic and has Moles coming to this side, along with the rookie Lee Evans.
Come.
And Moles incomplete. Let's go to Susie.
Well, I spoke to Mike Mularkey. His goal for the second half, to get in position for makeable third downs. He said they're just not operating the offense efficiently. And I asked him if that was anything that the Patriots specifically were doing. He said the bottom line is they are just lining up and challenging us, and we are not accepting the challenge.
And Susie, they're doing it again with a much depleted secondary. Guys in there who are free agents, guys who were signed off the practice squad a week ago, and McGahee gang tackled at the line of scrimmage. I mean, this is truly, to me, a remarkable performance by a defense that's been remarkable for a lot of time.
All right, Mike, and I'll tell you why this defense is so effective. Willie McGinnis, number 55. He's up, he's down, but watch what he does here. He doesn't make the play. Sheldon comes out and block him. He turns it back in so that the defensive lineman can help out and make the play. This is everybody playing their position. They're not gambling. They're not even allowed to gamble.
And you pick up a Keith Traylor, a big guy who's able to move inside. Not real tall, but yet very athletic and agile.
And so many linebackers who can do so many things.
Here they come.
Good protection for Bledsoe, and bounces this one in there.
Drew Bledsoe.
Intended for Sam Aiken.
We've seen the time that Tom Brady has had. Slide around, step up, throw the ball. Drew Bledsoe is throwing flat-footed right now. He's got people in his face. There's no way he's going to be able to get anything on the ball if it's in his face. Richard Seymour is covering. Look at his feet. Look at his feet. I mean, he's dead flat-footed, and he's trying to jump throw. And you just can't get anything on it.
Mormon to punt to Kevin Falk. Another good kick, and Falk all the way back to his 13. Ooh. Nowhere to go. Brought down to 20. A 57-yard kick from Brian Mormon, who was taking over #1 all-time at Buffalo from Paul McGuire.
This week on ESPN, a martial arts display from Las Vegas on Wednesday from the ISKA World Championships. On Thursday, the NBA on ESPN continues as Shaq and the Heat meet the Milwaukee Bucks. Then later, catch a wave as pro surfers compete for the California Cup. And Friday, we replay another classic bout on the best of Friday night fights. Sports all day, every day on ESPN this week.
What was that, folks? That was just...
That was the shot of the day.
That was the shot of the week.
On the alley-oop to McGrady from Jackson. Nicely done. Nice play by the Rockets. Jim Jackson finding McGrady.
Kicking to Richard Alston. We are underway in Baltimore. Alston, a new acquisition who was with the team in training camp. Richie, the only one who can get him. Alston, 93 yards, touchdown. Garcia. Ed Reed, interception. And Ed Reed takes it out of the end zone. 103 yards.
Simply the finest football on the planet. ESPN continues full-day coverage of the UEFA Champions League all the way through the championship game in May. ESPN, the home of the UEFA Champions League.
Monday Night Countdown at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. The best place to get ready for Monday Night Football. Got an ABC at 9 Eastern. Donovan McNabb and T.O. lead the Eagles into Dallas to take on Bill Parcells' Cowboys on Monday Night Football.
And you have to wonder if T.O. is going to do some encouraging of Donovan McNabb again this week like he did last week.
Is that what that was?
I was encouraging.
Corey Dillon in there for this series from the 20, and Brady changing the play. Dillon will get the carry. Out to the 25. Let's go to Susie.
Well, Mike, very different type of night for these two quarterbacks. Drew Bledsoe, another difficult day against the Bill Belichick defense. 2 picks and a sack. Tom Brady, Mr. Smooth as usual, 15 of 25 for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns, mixing it up. Corey Dillon, a dominating evening, even out hurt, 98 yards. This Bills D yet to give up. A 100-yard rusher could be coming soon.
Well, let's update that total, Susie, with that carry. He's now up to 16 for 102. He'll lose a couple here, drop back at the 20-yard line as Sam Adams again with penetration. Knock him down and then help him up.
Well, Susie's right. Now he's back under 100.
Yes, he is.
He went right back underneath. Way to go, Suze. She put the whammy on him.
Now, we talked about the versatility of what New England does with their players. Sam Adams actually winds up at the tight end, or the tight end position in goal line if Buffalo ever gets near it, which they haven't tonight.
Well, they could be at the 20, and Sam would have them near it.
Put Pat Williams on the other side.
Then you're on it. Blitz coming. They pick it up beautifully. Falk underneath to the 26-yard line. Well, or Patrick Pass well short of a
I just
first down.
really like the way Tom Brady plays football. just nice and patient back there, not forcing anything. And you look at the time that he's had throwing the football. Steps up, big deep one to Bethel Johnson, does a nice job of playing the ball. Now he steps over to David Patton, looks it off to the right, fires it back. Now you do it again to Christian Fourier. All this is set up by a terrific job by the offensive line.
Nate Clements back for the punt of Josh Miller. Clements at the 23, lost his footing. Lost 2 on the return after a punt of 50. Gerard Cherry, nice coverage.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Wilt Chamberlain. On March 2nd, 1962, Wilt Chamberlain did something that had never been done and may never be done again in an NBA game.
Chamberlain at 75 with 10 minutes to go.
We were going for 100. His record was our record.
In the second half, the team decided that maybe they can get 100, so they were feeding him constantly.
I don't think any of us realized that Wilt was on that much of a tear. Then Dave Zinkoff, Dipper, 82 points, and literally Wilt's eyes lit up.
Back to Rockwood, into Chamberlain. He made it! He made it! He made it! A Dipper dunk! He made it! The fans are all over the floor. They stopped the game. People are running out on the court. 100 points to Wilt Chamberlain.
Catch all the exciting, hard-hitting action of NFL American football all season long on ESPN. Best of Friday night fights on ESPN. With a 42-3 record, Bronco McCart was ready to face some of the strongest boxers in the junior middleweight division, and it all began with a 10-round bout against Michael Lerman. Friday on ESPN.
Bills quarterback Drew Bledsoe was among the guests on Friday for the unveiling of the Buffalo Bills youth football field. The Bills are the first franchise to open a facility dedicated to youth football on the same grounds as the team headquarters. That pioneers an initiative first presented by Commissioner Paul Tagliabue at the NFL owners meeting in March. I think it's a great thing to do.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Ralph Wilson, the owner of the Buffalo Bills. He's been there since the beginning, 1960.
And I think Paul Tagliabue does such a great job of leading this league. I mean, he truly has tremendous foresight. The owners, you know, believe in what his visions are, and it's things like that that really connect, I think, the league to the community.
It has been a wickedly difficult night for this Buffalo Bills offense, and Bledsoe throws the molds up at the 31. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, here's a flashback and a reminder how tough Drew Bledsoe is. Remember September 2001? This hit sheared an artery in his chest, his lung filled with blood, and it collapsed. Well, Tom Brady told me that he had never heard a hit that loud before. Brady, he says, we'll wait for this play, guys.
Brady gives it off to McGahee, and McGahee to the 32. Go ahead, Suze.
Well, Brady told me that he watched Drew Bledsoe try to regroup, that he leaned down, picked up his helmet, the face mask was bent, and he was trying to straighten it out so he could go back in, even with that extreme kind of injury. He has so much respect for Drew Bledsoe, and he said that season, the way he guided him the rest of the way was one of the main reasons why things went so smoothly and why the Patriots were able to win that Super Bowl.
And that's one of the reasons it's so important, Susie, that players prepare themselves to be ready if they do get a chance to play. Because Tom Brady got the chance because of that injury. He grabbed a hold of it and never let go, and he's won 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
When opportunity presents itself, you have to be ready to seize it, and that's exactly what Tom Brady did.
And don't you like the way he said it? He said, the way I did all this, I had to study. He was ready to play, knowing You're always one step away if you're the backup guy. But he was ready, mentally, physically ready to play.
And he wasn't just paying lip service to that. You know, I'm going through the motions. He was ready to play when he got the chance.
And this New England defense is ready to play tonight.
Boy, aren't they ever. Mormon comes down with a high snap and gets another good kick out of there to Falk. And Falk back to the 22-yard line, buried after an 8-yard return. And another 55-yard kick from Brian Mormon.
Each week, ESPN has your ticket for the best in sports. Mondays, fulfill your need for speed as we bring you the best in two-wheel, open-wheel, and off-road racing. Thursdays are action sports days with the wildest moments of X Games and beyond. And remember, ESPN is always your home for the great outdoors with hunting, lumberjacking, and some of the biggest fish you've ever seen. The best in sports each week, only on ESPN.
Hi, I'm Gary Selsey, 1998 U.S. Nationals champion, and this is another U.S. Nationals memory. 1972 Top Fuel rookie Gary Beck gets his license just 2 weeks before the U.S. Nationals, and in his first ever race, Beck not only makes it to the final, he beats Jerry Ruth to take the U.S. Nationals win in his professional debut. I'm Gary Selsey, and it happened at the U.S. Nationals in 1972.
College football fans, rejoice! Now you can watch over 150 of the best matchups from the best conferences right on your computer. Just log on to espn.com and click on the ESPN Game Plan logo. You're on your way to over 150 of the best games. Sign up for a weekly subscription for the entire season. Watch games live, watch games that are archived, or watch the highlights. It's a college football fan's dream come true. Log on to espn.com, click on the Game Plan logo, or search Game Plan.
On NBA Wednesday, an all-star matchup as the big man returns. Shaquille O'Neal, continuing to make his presence felt, goes on the road against the Bucks. Heat versus Bucks, live Wednesday, the NBA on ESPN.
4:03 to go, third quarter, and they're having some fun outside. They're having some fun inside, too, especially the Patriots. 343 yards to 85 for the Buffalo Bills. Bledsoe, short set, gets it to Givens, up to the 24. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, Red Sox outfielder Johnny Damon honored before the game. The Patriots won a Super Bowl before your season. What kind of motivation was that?
Oh, it's a huge motivation because they showed up to opening day a couple years ago, throwing out the first pitch, and they showed up again this year. And you know, those guys inspire us. I mean, they know how to play as a team, and that's exactly what we had to do to win a championship. So coming out here and supporting them, we'd do it any day. We think they're the greatest teams around, and they support us, we support them. It's New England's a very happy place right now.
You know, with so much criticism these days of athletes and selfishness, and you mentioned team, and the Patriots are so much of that. How do you forge that?
Well, you have to look towards the team because that's exactly what wins you championships. I mean, look at Kurt Schilling going on a broken ankle. You don't want to see the pictures that he has. You have guys like Orlando Cabrera, David Roberts making that big stolen base. And, of course, we have the big guys, Ortiz and Manny and Mark Bellhorn. I mean, you have to look at this as a team. I mean, it's something very special. Keith Fall, Pedro, I mean, on and on and on. I mean, there's 15, 16 guys who could be MVP. And that's what makes a great team. So I'm very happy of what we accomplished. These fans of New England, they're the best. And I mean, this is the best place in the world to play. And I mean, they've made me happy, and I know they've made our teammates very happy. And we are very happy that we got to bring a championship to them.
Congratulations.
Right.
Enjoy the offseason.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Susie, what a postseason for Johnny Damon. 3 home runs and 9 RBIs in the postseason alone, and he helped lead the Red Sox to that World Series title. 4-game sweep over the St. Louis Cardinals, and it wasn't even close. I mean, they just kicked them to death.
I think his grand slam got it all started.
They had a miracle comeback to beat the Yankees. No team had ever been down 3-0 and done it. And this is Jonathan Smith on the kick return. Only Josh Miller to beat. And Smith, 70 yards for a touchdown, Bills.
You know, special teams, there's a lot of ways to get back into a ball game. Well, this is one of them. This is one of the best ways. I mean, this play takes about, what, 10 seconds or 12 seconds to run? And you've got Jonathan Smith that runs this punt return back for a touchdown. That brings this game back into perspective. The only problem is they have not been able to move the ball at all on offense.
They had picked up 85 yards in total offense. That return was for 70 in the touchdown. Now they'll go for 2, trying to make it a 23-8 game. Shelton is the fullback. McGahee goes out as a wide receiver. Now he moves in motion back. Oh, Bledsoe throws on the run incomplete, and a flag is down, and Rodney Harrison is going to be flagged going low on the quarterback, I believe is going to be that call.
Exactly. You cannot go at the knees of quarterbacks, whether they have the ball or not. Rodney Harrison comes flying in, and he actually, I think he hits him in the thigh. He hits him
with his helmet above the thigh. He does not go below the knees.
I think he hits him in the thigh.
This is a bad call.
Foul. Roughing the passer, number 37, goes low at the quarterback. Half the distance will bring him
now,
to try.
They're going to have to define, the league's going to have to define low. I mean, this hits, watch this. He's going to hit him in the thigh. That helmet is right in the thigh. That is not at the knees. For goodness sakes, Tom White, what are you looking at?
That is a great play by Rodney Harrison. It's an outstanding play.
And it's clean.
Sure is.
It's flat clean. Wow.
Sam Adams is in as an extra blocker. McGahee not going to get in.
I'll tell you guys, Willis McGahee is getting, this is 101 running the football against a quality defensive football team. The New England Patriots have found ways to clog up every hole that Willis McGahee has wanted to.
This week on ESPN, a martial arts display for